Hello, and welcome to the Activation Nation podcast, your weekly source of actionable advice from industry experts in self-development, health, LifeVantage products, network marketing, and more to help you activate your wellness, your business, and your life. Today's episode focuses on self, one of the 4 pillars of belief. But first, the legal stuff. You may hear our guests talk about the income they've earned or how their health has been affected with LifeVantage. Please note that the average annual earnings of a typical active LifeVantage distributor in 2021 was $704. For the most up-to-date information, please click the link in our show notes. Any product statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Our products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And now, here's your host to dive into today's story to help you activate your life.
Hello, LifeVantage family. Welcome to another incredible episode of Activation Nation. I had the opportunity to sit down and catch up with 2 of the most wonderful people that are part of LifeVantage, presidential consultants, Shawn and Michelle Poe. Shawn and Michelle shared so much with me about some of their background, how they found LifeVantage, and most importantly, some of their advice that they have for anybody who is looking to start a business or maybe looking to restart their LifeVantage business and really go all into another level. So hope you enjoyed this episode with the Poes. So with that, Shawn and Michelle, welcome to Activation Nation.
Hello.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my first question for the both of you is, tell me a little bit about your journey to this industry, or what had you even considering starting your own business within this channel?
So it had never, ever been on our radar. Wasn't something that we had ruled out, but just what wasn't in the realm of anything that we had done or been looking for. 100% transparency. I was very skeptical about it. I didn't understand this profession, and I didn't have any sort of reference point to the potential that it has on the business side of really, really changing your life.
And Shawn, what was your background?
So after graduate school, I worked for Wells Fargo. I got my security licenses there. I did some transitional work when they bought Strong Mutual Fund, integrating the 2 portfolios together on the finance side. And then we moved to Sioux Falls in 2006 because of Michelle's health. And the only 2 places that did what I did with Wells Fargo was San Francisco and Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. So when we moved here, I went over to Citigroup. And I worked with corporate treasury, where we were bringing jobs out of New York back to South Dakota. So I would sit next to somebody, learn what they did, document the processes. We'd fire that person. And then I would bring the job back and train somebody else how to do it for about 30 cents on the dollar here.
Very uplifting.
I was going to say, very positive environment then.
So we ran all of the cash movement for Citigroup, which ranged anywhere from $4 billion to $40 billion every single day.
Wow.
It was a high stress environment because at that time, it was right around 2008, 2009, when the banking industry was collapsing here in the United States. The mortgage industry started it and affected the banks. So there were literally nights where we would sit there and we didn't know if regional banks were going to make it, because us big banks, we didn't want to loan out the money that we had. And if the government wouldn't have done certain things like keeping the Fed fund windows open until everybody got cash, it would have been a lot worse than it was. So I was kind of at the front lines of that, very, very stressful. And then the last 3 years I was with them, I managed the defaulted student loan portfolio, probably around $750 million worth of assets.
Another very uplifting.
Anytime anything went to court, I was in a 350,000 person
the
company.
The only one in the company.
I was considered custodian of record, which simply meant I could answer any questions a judge or an attorney had. So I would fly out the whim of a hat. If they told me I needed to be in Philadelphia on Tuesday, I would have to figure out how to get there from Sioux Falls. So,
oh man,
wasn't the best environment, and we were looking, for something that would, ultimately allow me to exit that. But when you have little kids and you have a house and all of the adult things. It's not like you can just get up and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. So
was network marketing even, you said it wasn't even on your radar.
No.
So how did it get on your radar?
Well, here's the deal. We give thanks every single day to being introduced to this, but even more beyond that, being followed up with time after time after time after time after time. Because with Shawn being gone so much, I was working full time. We had an online business as well. We had 2 little girls, and we also had a lady living with us from Spain. Our daughters have gone to a Spanish immersion school since kindergarten, and she didn't speak tons of English, and she's another part of the family, and she'd never lived in the U.S. before, and you're taking care of them, making sure they're okay and being introduced to things. And it's another, she was an adult, but it's almost like another child in the house that you're making sure everything is okay. So we were literally the definition of no time. But when you have a friend that you respect and they keep following up with you, and then following up again and following up again. So here's something: when people care about you and continue to follow up, and you're not hearing back from them, for those of you out there that are sharing the gift of LifeVantage, always know that they are not looking to you in judgment necessarily. They're probably just very busy and are meaning to get back to whatever that you're being exposed to or wanting to talk about, because I just kept meaning to come back to her Facebook message, and I would just get distracted and so busy. And as Shawn said as well, I was very sick. So it was just a lot. And finally she came and said, Michelle, I know you're really busy and got a lot going on, but have you had a chance to look at this again? And I remember the exact moment of when I saw that Facebook message come through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am literally the worst friend ever. I still have not responded because we had gone on vacation. I took my laundry basket, set it down in our little bedroom area, and I sat down and watched the ABC Primetime Investigative Report. And that's what she had shared with us. And when I watched that, my mouth literally dropped. And she's the type of person who, she never was looking at network marketing. She's a dietitian. She was a dietitian here at the Heart Hospital, and people would always come to her for the next best things. So she would always just be a little annoyed because everybody would always come to her, and she's like, oh my gosh, all these people don't have science, and it's just so much, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, Nikki, what are you doing? You don't like this stuff. She said, Michelle, this is legit. And so she said, you need to come to a meeting tomorrow, and there's going to be a cardiologist speaking. And she had no idea that my biological father died of a heart attack at the age of 42. So when I knew there was, that happening, plus a positive ABC Primetime Investigative Report, we went skeptically, like Shawn said. I did everything that I could to disprove the science, literally reached out to researchers that had no idea of who I was. But I took their products and respected them and had incredible conversations with them later about it. And Shawn definitely looked into the business and pushed, or not pushed, but really delve in. And we went to the meeting, and I said, Shawn, let's just go. Nikki wants us to go. There's a cardiologist. There's something here. I can just feel it. There was this positive deal. But then people talk a lot now about us going to this meeting and asking tons and tons of hard questions, because we are very much about integrity and truth and never sharing anything unless it's that and then some. So when we went to this meeting, Shawn asked a lot of questions for sure. And we were there and got all of our questions answered. And then really realized what network marketing was. But we never thought, still to that day, that we would do anything with it because we were so busy.
I got to know, Shawn, did you go to that meeting being like, I'm going to debunk this? Were you the skeptic at the meeting? Did you go to the meeting open-minded? Were you bugged about going to the meeting? Like, what was Shawn thinking?
I was definitely forced to go to the meeting. How I recall it, Michelle, was you're going to the meeting.
No, I said everything in life we do together, right. And I need you to have your own eyes on it.
So I would say we were skeptical about it, but open-minded at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, my only request was if you drag me to this meeting, I get to ask any question that I want. And she was totally cool with that. She's like, yeah, of course, our name is important. And if it is something that shouldn't be in our community, let's get it out. If it's awesome, let's go. So
I love that. But you asked all your questions, got your answers.
Yeah. Thank goodness Carrie Williams was there.
Yes.
Being publicly traded and with my financial background, if you go back to the financials in 2011, they weren't great. And on paper, it looked like the last quarterly report showed that they were losing about $40 million. And at that time, it was around a $10 million company. So I had questions around that.
I'm not great at math, and I know that doesn't
sound great, right?
I
told Michelle, I said, I don't know how they'll keep their doors open next month, let alone next year. So that was probably my biggest hesitation with it, was the financial aspect of the company at the time.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, so I guess my question for you then, I love hearing your background. And, if you're putting yourselves kind of back to that day where you knew nothing, or you're putting yourselves in the shoes of someone who maybe is being approached about this industry for the first time, what would you tell them to consider? What would your advice be to somebody before they just say, oh, no, that's not for me?
Yeah. I think one of the first things that I tell people after they've kind of heard that I had hesitation as well is, when this profession is done right with the right people and the right products, it's one of the most extraordinary ways to do business. And out of anything that we've ever done business-wise, this is the most simplistic business that we've ever done. But don't confuse simplicity with ease. And the biggest barrier I think that people have to success is seriously inside their head, and that little voice that's telling them things that aren't necessarily true, or jumping to conclusions on what people are going to think about them.
So having an open mind,
that's 100% it, having the open mind. And I am the one who, I dive into everything as well to try to disprove it, but I am a huge believer in listening to your intuition and listening to your heart and letting that lead you. You've got to do your homework, you got to do your due diligence, but there's always something that's, whenever I listen to my intuition, things they work, and there's a reason for it. And when I don't, I'm like, shoot, I knew better. And this was very much so I feel like I kept trying to find the holes. Like, where are the holes in this? The science is here. Like, okay, that's it. It's publicly traded. Shawn asked all of his questions. We thankfully got all of our answers back on that. And then 2 weeks after we went to that meeting and we had enrolled was the first ever convention. And so we were we're told, if we go to this convention, we'll likely cut 6 to 12 months off of our learning curve. After being asked to go to that convention several times and me saying, no, thank you, but thank you for thinking of us, because we had just invested into it. Like we said earlier, we were the definition literally of no time. And then also my health side. But when I was told that, it was like, people need to know about this. I'm going to go and we're going to learn. And then Shawn thankfully came with me. At the last second, very last second, same thing, just like that meeting. I'm like, Shawn, everything we do is do it together. We don't have to do it together, but we have to be on the same page, right? We need to know all those different things. And then we went to that event, and we had never done network marketing before. We were literally nobody in the network marketing world. And there were people there shaking our hands, looking at us in our eyes, saying, hi, so nice to meet you. How can we help you? We're here for you. And I'm like, who are these people? Corporate people, consultants, all this and that. And I'm like, I kept trying to find the holes. And that was the first time also at that event is when we bought stock. Mm-hmm. We were like, holy cow, this is, there's something here. So
get to an event is what I hear you saying.
And it has been 12 years now since we were introduced to LifeVantage, and we have not missed one single big event, corporate event ever.
And we definitely wouldn't be where we're at without them.
No.
The belief building, becoming, as Herbert Harris said, from stage bazooka proof. Those sorts of things, you can either go down that journey, the hard road, and learn and make the mistakes yourselves, or you can really plug into the system and, have a lot quicker success than you would without it.
I love that. Well, I have found that this industry is one that people we kind of talked about this earlier, jump to a lot of conclusions like, oh, that doesn't work, or, oh, that's fake, whatever. No one makes money. And it's almost like people have their mind made up before they really even look into a company. And
right.
And I feel like there's a few things that just have to stack up in any opportunity in this industry. And unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there that kind of give the industry a little bit of a bad name. But I think for me, one of the biggest things is a great product story.
Yes.
100%.
How has the product really driven your success in this industry? And Michelle, I know you mentioned you had an incredible transformation with the products, but how important do people need to really consider the product philosophy when they're thinking about joining a company?
Well, I'll answer quick. Surprise is I am a very, very, Shawn will say I'm rainbows and butterflies, but I'm only rainbows and butterflies about truth and things that I am passionate about. And when you can be involved with a company that literally has something that every single human, in my opinion, in the world needs and deserves, and you understand the reason why, that mission, this has become the biggest mission. We say this is the greatest blessing outside of our God and family. When you've got products that everybody needs, it's you're just unstoppable, because if you truly care about what you're doing every day, you won't ever stop with that.
Yep. And I truly believe that without Pro Tandem, this company would not still be here if it was just another product that you could get anywhere. It's allowed us the opportunity to really go through some rough waters and to be able to come out on the other side and still, be so unique in the marketplace. Having patents on a product that is based off of natural ingredients is not very common.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that really blew me away once we did start looking into the business more was, we didn't want to build something that all of a sudden you walk in Walmart, wall tandem sitting on the shelves.
You just say wall tandem.
Wall tandem, right?
My gosh.
So
wall tandem.
If we were going to go all in with this, it had to be something that we were passionate about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no doubt that the industry, when I started looking into it, it does work. And we just couldn't represent something, though, that we weren't all in with on the product side first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That is absolutely a huge piece of it. And like I said, unfortunately, for some people or for some companies out there, it's like, oh, just create an opportunity and put anything in a bottle.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't stick that way. It's not long term. So I absolutely love that.
Right.
The next thing that people talk about all the time and just kind of really vetting this industry, and Shawn, you touched on a little bit of it, but just the company aspect of it and the transparency. What do people need to consider from more of that corporate company standpoint when they're considering joining a company in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, the leadership aspect of the company is super, super important. But I think bigger than that for us is that transparency of being publicly traded.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Life would be a lot easier if this company wasn't, because you wouldn't have so much stuff that you're constantly having to put out to the world every 3 months. And there's probably a lot of companies in the space that financially aren't doing well, but they can masquerade around it because they are private. And so that's really what I like about, our company being publicly traded is any questions that we have about, what shape the company's in, it is extremely transparent and we can have those conversations and you're updated quarterly on that. But, the corporate staff, we've been so fortunate with the people that we've interacted with. And especially right now, it puts us in such a great spot to make that next massive jump when you have alignment between the distributor field and the corporate side of it, and you're moving together with the right motives in mind. And I think that's where we are right now in the company.
Yeah. For sure. No, I can, from the corporate side, I can say just that alignment is so crucial for us too. And it is a partnership. We are on the same team, but wear different jerseys, and that's how we grow and we work together. But the next thing that always comes up is just culture. And Michelle, as the resident rainbows and butterflies on this call, I want to ask you just about culture and how important the culture is when you're trying to identify a company to join. And then kind of a follow-up question is, how do you create that same kind of a culture within your team?
Well, culture is everything. If you can get up every day, like I said, regarding the products and have a mission and knowing that you need to go out there and serve as big as possible to everybody that would like that is massive. But when you can couple, like Shawn just talked about being publicly traded, I'm like, what the heck? We have, our science and the gold standard of medical research. We've got, LifeVantage, LFVN up on the NASDAQ. And then you've got a culture and a community and a company with a mission-fueled gift to really make a difference is literally everything. Our team is our family. Our team is life, but it's also... And, we have our regular team Monday night meetings, and we have several people that come on to our team calls as well. It is what we call Team LifeVantage. And when you can have a company where some of your best friends are in other organizations, that is massive. And we have never been a part of another network marketing company, but from what I've been told, that's not very common. And that's one of Shawn and I's missions as well, is we want to raise the standards of this network marketing profession. I know, Kristen, you mentioned earlier, there's, some bad eggs or bad companies or, can make different names. Well, that's true for any business. There's different doctors out there. There's different attorneys that give different things bad names. So we're here at LifeVantage to literally raise the standards of all of it, whether it be our products, the opportunity, but that culture is life. It's how do we do it? We do it in love. We do it with purpose. We do it with intention. We celebrate. I think celebration and recognition is huge. It's not all about the recognition of who are the biggest enrollers, for consultants and customers. It's literally celebrating that first call, celebrating the first, meeting, whether it be online or whether it be at an in-home or anything of that sort, celebrating life and doing personal growth development. Shawn, tell everybody what you say about, this profession in regards to personal development.
Well, I think we offer three different things to people. The first and most obvious through our products is health. The second is on the financial side. And usually, people are looking for a combination of both. But the third thing that really surprised us was the personal development journey that's wrapped up in all of this. And, some people will come in and they're never, ever, ever going to share the products or the business with anybody, but show up to everything because of the culture, because of the community, and having that positivity in their life that they don't have anywhere else. And it allows them to, fit into something that they're looking for, but at the same time, advance just who they are. And so that's what we're looking to do, is just make people better versions of themselves in all three of those aspects. And if you have good community, it's going to create stickiness that you wouldn't have outside of that. And that can be a challenge sometimes when people are building online, is you might not have as much of a connection or as tight of a community. But if you can find ways to build that and really get people invested in each other, you're going to have something so concrete, so solid that when, negative things come up, you're able to withstand it, whether it's internally or externally. There's a lot of society factors that have been in play the last couple of years that we've been able to make it through because of the community that we have.
Yeah. I love that. And what is so different to me about this industry, and it comes up on several of these episodes, is you're successful when you help somebody else be successful.
100%.
Yes.
And
Your success is determinant of that.
Well, and we tell people, we just did another, it's constant. Your why is literally our why. How fast you want to go, how slow you want to go, telling us and letting us know you need X amount for your kids' braces or for, getting this one lady yesterday, her husband isn't doing well and he really needs to get out of his job. And so we want to know what is the time frame of that, how fast, blah, blah, blah. And that it gets ingrained into our souls and that becomes our why. In the beginning, we were asked, it's funny, Carrie Williams, again, at that first convention, she plopped down on a couch and she goes, so what's your why? And coming
I can
from,
just hear her saying that. Like, I love that.
Yeah. Can you totally see her plopping and then just saying it? Yeah, exactly. She's amazing. So coming from, I was in mortgage for over a decade and Shawn being back in banking, and we just had never talked about why. Like, why are we doing this every day? I loved helping people with their biggest financial responsibility and helping them get into their homes and letting them know that, make sure that you know about your garbage costs and all these other extras. But never had I been asked that. And I was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I really want to help people. But at the same point, I had never dug so deep into my soul to think, I have an answer here to prayer of getting my husband out of his job, getting, the family even healthier. I had no clue that if I really dug into why we're doing this, I could help make my family a better unit. And that's what network marketing and LifeVantage has been so huge in regards to that. And that's with community and culture, is a lot of people have said, I forgot that I have the ability to dream. I forgot that I can do something new. I'm scared. I've been scared to do this and that, but I didn't ever have the support. And now I have the support to do this and that. And it can be a variety of things. So she popped down, asked me the why, and it literally grew. And it was in the beginning to get my husband out of his job. And once I made that decision, we did get him out of his job 4 months after. And I was determined. And because I wanted him out. I wanted him out of his job. But then it does grow, and it has grown to different family things and being able to schedule our time around our kids' schedules and be there for them in the moments that they need. Or, as you know, we've been through a lot of unfortunate things and deaths, and being able to schedule life around that. But our why now is, yes, of course, we're planning our kids, but now it truly is when people are coming into LifeVantage, what is your why? Because we want to do everything that we can in our souls to help you get to where you want to go. And that is the thing that keeps me up at night, is how can we help all of these people get to where they want to go?
I love that. Well, my next question for you, just like kind of shifting gears slightly, but what advice would you give somebody? They just joined today, they're ready to get started. What piece of advice would each of you give to that new person?
Number one, don't try to be the expert. Utilize the system, utilize the team. You don't have to become an expert in superoxide dismutase and glutathione and catalase and all these things that we want to know and understand.
Or the compensation plan.
You're, as Michelle says all the time, you're a bridge, you're a connection between the people that have the information and the people that you want educated on the information. So I'd say that first. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Lead with your heart. Get out of your head.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, don't think, just do.
We were told very early on, and we still live this to this day, is go for every single incentive and promotion that's put out in front of you. Worst case is you don't hit that goal, but you're still going to
moving forward,
do the right actions to move forward.
Yeah.
So we try anything that you guys throw out and dangle as a carrot. We're going for it every month.
Well, and I will say, you've already earned our most recent trip, so I can confirm that they actually do that.
So Yeah, I think that those would be the things to me, is just keeping it simple, plugging into the system, going to events.
Yep. And like you said, utilizing the team. I think that was the biggest thing in the beginning, was just getting up and going. There's so many things out there. There's so many things we can learn. We tell people, let's just get into action. And the learning aspects are when you're cooking, when you're cleaning, play your YouTubes, play your these podcasts that LifeVantage. People are loving these podcasts.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for creating them. Immerse yourself during that time of laundry and whatnot. But when you're out of doing all of that, you are in action mode and blessing mode.
And the last thing I would probably say on it is consistency and commitment.
Yes.
If you can dedicate 3 to 4 hours a week, and that's what it is, make sure that you're committed, that you're going to put in that 3 to 4 hours into actual action to build your business and grow it. And regardless how much time you can put in, if you're consistent with it over time,
yes,
it will lead to advancing your business. And then lock arms with people that want to run and see the business vision like you see it, because you don't know how long they're going to be around. There could be something in their life that happens that distracts them, or, regardless what it is, we don't know the time frame that somebody's going to be around. And the more doors that you can open while they're engaged with you, the more access to more people that you can bless with the products and the business side.
Yeah, I would say and just, you said consistency, but something that we did and were committed to was 2 a day every day. And we definitely did more than that. To get my husband out of his job, I definitely had to share with more than 2 a day every day. But every night before I went to bed, I wrote down 2 names. I painted our bathroom wall with marker board paint to write up goals. And so as you walk in and you walk out, you're constantly seeing it. I'm very visual. I always say, see it, believe it, receive it. If you put it out there and you put the action in and you believe it, it's going to happen. And so every night I would write down 2 names before I'd go to bed. And those are the 2 people that I had to share with that next day. And I was committed and consistent to doing that every single day. And some days it's crazy. Life can come and hit you and you just don't have a ton of time. But I always had the 2. And like I said, generally after those 2, it was a lot more than that.
And when you talk about action or activity, that's what you're meaning, like sharing the story, the LifeVantage story with somebody. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love that. So I guess same question, different audience. So we have people who are listening to this podcast who are maybe considering joining LifeVantage, or, maybe they've heard about it a few times and they're ready to make that decision. But we also have a group of our audience who has been in the business for a while, and maybe they're thinking of restarting their business or re-engaging at a bigger level. What would your advice be to someone who maybe has been in LifeVantage for a little while, but is looking at, okay, it's time to go to the next level?
I mean, you guys offer us so many opportunities that our database is reset.
Yeah.
And I think that's a struggle for people, is after they've been in for a little bit, they feel like they don't have anybody else to talk to. But every single time that we have a new product come out, or, a new LTO, limited time offers that come out, like Axio, the new flavors, your database always is resetting itself because they don't know that information. And we're going to have some amazing science that you guys are going to bless us with collagen and NRF2 that's coming out very soon. Those are opportunities for you to re-engage people that you've talked to in the past, but it wasn't the right time or the right information for them to either take the products or take the products and get involved with the business. So as long as you maintain that business and don't ruin, the relationship, and you don't ruin it by being overly aggressive when somebody's not ready and they're not hearing what they need to hear, the relationship is the most important thing, because it will allow you to then every so often re-engage with them about what we have our hands on and new updates that we have.
And I would just say, give yourself grace. We are the hardest on ourselves always. And we can easily look back at, I wish I would have, why didn't I, and just kind of be hard on ourselves. But as my grandma Ginny would say, flush that stinking thinking because the time is right now. And Shawn and I are more excited today than what we were when we first got started. And that is saying a lot because that passion is through the roof. And that mission, as I keep saying, is beyond. And just there's another saying that we've said for years, that it's in the moments of decision where your destiny is shaped. So Shawn even has a tattoo on his wrist that says decide. We are very much about decision and deciding. And so make that decision today. Lean into that and an intuition that's just like, oh my gosh, stuff really is happening. Oh my gosh, I am going to make a difference in my life. I'm going to make a difference in my children, my family, my community, my church, whatever is important for you. And lean in and then go and tell the team, I want to do this. Where do I start? What do I do? I want to get going and I want to do this now. And this is how fast I want to go, and be very transparent about that so that everybody at LifeVantage can help you. But I'm telling you, with these products, with this, the publicly traded, with Aaron Brockovich, I tell people all the time, do you know how huge it is that we have someone like that on our board of directors where, again, transparency is there? The time literally is now. And we've got to get loud about it, and we've got to be proud, and we've got to just share this blessing so dang big and beautifully, because it's insane. It's literally insane what we've got our hands on.
Oh, definitely. I think a big part of it, just, you said it's insane what we have our hands on right now. In terms of timing, I mean, I don't know that the timing has ever been more right. Yeah. So my last question for both of you is all around timing. Why is right now a great time to start a LifeVantage business?
Ooh, so good.
Go listen to the last quarterly update. There's very few distributors around the world right now. We're a 13-year-old startup company. If you look at companies that are on the NASDAQ, you're not typically going to find a company that's at 200 million in revenue. We're on the precipice of where we could be down the road. And, I think this past year has really, really been transformational for the company for a couple different reasons. Protandim NRF2 is the most extraordinary product that we're going to probably ever share with anybody. Mm-hmm. But not everybody has that feeling of this is what it's doing for me. The science will say all day long that it works 100% of the time, but not everybody has that outward feeling. When we started coupling it with collagen and people were having just heightened experiences and things that they could visually see change, it was a game changer for us. And I think we can all agree that society still is vain. People want to age really, really gracefully when given the opportunity. And that's what collagen, coupled with Protandim has allowed us to do this last year. But the changes that we've had on the company side as well, too, with Evolve, has really transformed us as a company that's ready for 2023 and beyond, where it allows people to build the way that they want to build. There's a lot of influential people out there that in the past, maybe they weren't looking to build a huge network marketing team, but they could massively acquire customers and get people onto the product side. And so I love that blend that we have now of build it the way that you want to build it. There's opportunity on both sides, and most people are still going to build it with both of them together. But I mean, it's unreal what we have our hands on. And when I look back to what I said at the very beginning about, the financial status of the company, when we got engaged in 2011, those were scary times. Like, I wouldn't want to go back to a company that you're like, oh my gosh, are we going to be around here next quarter or next year? Like, we're in such a great position company wise. And now it's just a matter of putting all of those pieces into motion to make that next jump. Because we saw the company go from 10 million to 40 to 120 to 200 plus. Well, now let's have that launching pad of 200 to 400 to 800 to a billion plus. Like, let's do that over the next 3 to 4 years.
I'm in. Let's do it. Michelle, what about you? What, from a timing perspective, why is now the right time?
Oh my goodness gracious. On a timing perspective, it's number one, I think, what the heck? There are, what is it now, Kristen? Less than 70,000 consultants in the globe?
Right around there.
Right around there. So we live in a community in Sioux Falls, South Dakota of 200,000 people. So I sit here and think, holy cow, there are, if I put all the consultants in the world into Sioux Falls, there would still be another 130 some thousand people that don't even know here, just in Sioux Falls. Then you that aren't involved, then that leaves the whole state of South Dakota. Then that leaves the rest of the United States. And nobody else in the world outside of that knowing. Like, that's an insane opportunity and something to be like, are you kidding me? How does the world not know about this? And we've got to get this out there faster. So opportunity wise, I just sit there and go, wow, how insanely blessed are we? But then I'm like, dang, we got to go faster. What do we need to do to get going faster? And who do we need to find? Like, we need to find passionate people that want to make a difference, people that are about a great culture, not a good culture, a great, insane culture of a company that is grounded in truth and transparency and love, like truly insane. We have so many people that say, I've never seen a company that just gets along and is rowing in the same place like this. It's just, I don't know. I could talk for a long time on this. It's such a big.
Let's ask the host. Why are you excited about the future?
Yeah, Kristen.
Wow. I see what you did there, and I can tell.
Who's the host now?
Boom. I have recorded a lot of these, and not one person has asked me a question. So I love that it was Shawn that just changed the stakes. I would say right now is the best time. And I think it's interesting because I've been in the industry for a while now, and there's been a lot of different points in my career where people have said, now's the time. And I think sometimes that is maybe a little gimmicky, like, right. If that's the wrong word. But what I can tell you, the reason that I feel like now is the right time, is because when we look what we've done over the past, few months of a compensation plan, a product strategy, I've never been at a company that has been so thoughtful in planning for the right time. It hasn't just been, we accidentally fell into this. Right. It's been intentional from our product strategy to our compensation to partnering with our leaders. Mm-hmm. So number one, just how planful we've been. But number two, I think from an alignment perspective, we have a group of leaders and a team at the office who are all in just to grow LifeVantage. And I've never worked with a group of people who are so devoted to the bigger picture. It's not just about what's in it for the pose or what's in it for the company, or it's what's in it for everybody. And so I think just being planful along with this huge desire to grow together and to just make everybody a part of this amazing community. For me, those are the two biggest reasons.
Love it.
And I will just say, being a part of a lot that's been happening this past year, closely with you and Steve and the corporate staff, we just thank you so much. I mean, you were just on the phone. What did you say till 1 o'clock in the morning, just the other night with our CEO. And I know that there was a ton. There's just been so many nights of zero sleep and traveling to Australia and Japan and Mexico, all these different places with the full heart of, we are doing this. We're going to do this right. And we are setting a foundation that's going to last. And from the two of us, it just means a lot, and we reflect on it a lot. So thank you.
Well, we love you guys. We love LifeVantage. And just working with you and your team over the past couple of years has been so much fun. And the future is only going to continue to get bigger and brighter and just more amazing. And you guys are definitely a big part of that. So thank you both for your time today. Shawn and Michelle Poe, some of our newest presidential consultants.
Thank you.
Thank you. So grateful. Blessings.
Thank you for tuning in to the Activation Nation podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Tell your friends and share your biggest takeaways from today's discussion with anyone who could benefit from them. This episode is sponsored by LifeVantage Legacy, a nonprofit dedicated to improving lives and building a lasting impact for those in need around the world. Learn more at lifevantage.com. We look forward to sharing more with you during next week's conversation. Thanks for listening and being an important part of the LifeVantage community.